Hello everybody, hi my genealogy queens, I hope everybody is well. So today I wanted to talk about the Angolan and Congolese people. And I'm very excited to do this video because I actually found some very interesting information. And it just was so intriguing because some things, looking at this, I've never thought of things that way until just now. And also there was like a picture that was taken in like 1706, which to me is funny because they I looked up when cameras were created just to be sure, and it said 1816. So I don't know how this picture was taken. It had her death date, which was 1706. Actually, the picture was taken in 1704. So I just think it's so cool how, I don't know how it happened. I don't know, but it was cool. So let's start. So the Angolan connection and slavery in Virginia is what I wanted to start with. So it says that the first Africans in Virginia in the 17th century came from the Congo/Angola regions of West Central Africa. So Congo is actually spelled with a K, it's not a C. So that was really cool to me as well. So they've been spelling it wrong for a while now, at least people in America have. It says that they were part of a large system established by the Portuguese in Africa to capture and supply slaves to the Spanish colonies in Central and South America. Two privateering vessels raiding in the Caribbean took some of the Africans from a Portuguese ship and brought them to Virginia, where they sold them. The status of these early Africans as either servant or slave in Virginia is unknown. They did go to work for tobacco planters, laboring side by side with English indentured servants. After the 1622 war that the English fought against the Powhatan Indians, however, fewer English servants were willing to immigrate into Virginia. Certainly by the 1650s, the excess population in England began to be reduced and more job opportunities arose, therefore impoverished English workers. But because the tobacco economy was labor intensive, Virginia planters increasingly had to rely more on people from Africa. In the 1630s, the Dutch seized control of the African slave trade from Portugal, which had maintained it for many years. The Dutch built or took over fortified trading posts, which the Portuguese had established along the coast of West Africa, closer to supplies of gold and ivory. But the Dutch did not keep control very long, and other European powers competed for the lucrative trade. But by the 1660s, there was a clear demand for slaves in Virginia, and slave ships began to arrive more frequently. They no longer brought people primarily from Congo/Angola. Now ships brought them from the coast of West Africa. These people were taken from different parts of West Africa and so had diverse cultural backgrounds. The slave trade system created by Europeans in Africa was much more damaging to African societies than the traditional forms that already existed in Africa. The people were exploited and their families were divided. So, as we continue, that was really interesting because that really got more into the history of, Angolan and Congolese people and, how they got here and some of the things that kind of shaped some of their lives. And as I go back to this picture, I just really wanted to go through this beautiful portrait. This is a 1910 portrait of a Congolese woman. And I think it's just so beautiful. I really do. And it just really, the whole statue of her just shows the beauty of the Congolese and Angolan people. Some of them. Of course, she doesn't represent all of them, but she is a beautiful woman. So this right here really had me very intrigued because this gentleman right here, his name is Christopher Salles, is of Angolan and Congolese ancestry. He comes from that, and he identifies as mixed race. Now, as I read this to you, I want you guys to, of course, listen, and then I will explain how, one, I agree with him and how I find it very interesting on how he sees himself and how Americans would see him and how, that would go. So he says here, I identify myself as Angolan and Congolese and of Christian faith. I believe in Jesus. My dad is from Angola and comes from the Bakongo tribe. And my dad's side of the family, they're all Angolan. My mom is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. My dad met my mom in Congo when his side of the family fled the Angola Civil War. They met as friends and fell in love from a young age. After a few years of being together and having their first child together, they decided to move to Spain. After a few years of living there, in 1998, I was born in Madrid, and they then had my little sister in 2001. After a few years of struggling in Spain, my parents decided to move to England where I grew up. Things were different as I had to adapt to a whole different way of living. My parents both struggled to get jobs, and on top of all the struggling, the government was also on my dad and mom's back because papers needed to be done before we could be allowed to stay in this country permanently. So it says here, I grew up in a more of a Congolese household, and my dad never told me he was from Angola. My dad just told me he was from Congo, and so was I. Even though deep down I knew I was born in Spain and had other family roots leading to outside of Congo, as I grew older and studied history in school, I just said to people that I was Spanish/African, as I was ashamed of my parents' country. In school, they failed to tell us that my ancestors were more than just slaves. I feel that had a big part of making me ashamed of being where I was from. At one point, I started saying I was just Spanish, but then as I grew older and started doing my own research, I became proud of where I was from. He says here, I realized I was mixed race when I started dating my girlfriend, as she revealed that she was mixed race. This made me want to start embracing my own culture. One day, my family from London came over and we were talking about Congo. My uncle told me that I was half Angolan. I was confused because my dad never mentioned that I was from Angola. This was when I confronted him and asked why he has never embraced his Angolan side. He started laughing and offered me no response. But this was the point. I realized I was mixed race. I know the outside world will see me just as black, but skin color and race are two different things. So I agree with him, but I thought this was interesting because I never thought of things this way, okay? So, in America, we see people as mixed race as if you're like half African, half European, or if you're, anything like African mixed with something else, European mixed with something else, or Asian mixed with something else, in a way of being from another part of the world, like another country, or another country outside of that country that you're already from. So Americans wouldn't see him as mixed race, but he is mixed race because he's half Angolan, half Congolese. And I actually, when I first read it, was confused, but then I thought about it and I was like, he is mixed race. He comes from two different cultures. Culturally, Angola and Congo are different. They may have some intertwining ways of culture because of history, but they are two different cultures. And they are two different kinds of people in a way, they are. So he is mixed race, because that's why you have people who are Angolan and people who are Congolese. You don't have them as the same people. So he does come from two different bloodlines. So that's so interesting because I would have never thought of it this way. In a way, I would have thought of it, of course, being American that way. So, and as he was mentioning, people see him as just African, just black, when, yeah, he is African, but he's Congolese and Angolan. So, he is mixed race. He is. And that's something a lot of people don't think about in America because, we're around a certain different way of thinking. So I just thought that was so cool to me because I never thought of things that way. But yeah, that's just really cool. And people still may not agree with this notion, but he's right. He's right. So I thought that was cool. Interesting. So when we get here, and when this is the culture, and I thought this was important, and he kind of shed light on a little bit of this, Christopher Salles, but the culture of Angola is influenced by the Portuguese. Portugal occupied the coastal enclave Luanda and later also Benguela since the 16th and 17th centuries and expanded into the territory of what is now Angola in the 19th/20th centuries, ruling it until 1975. Both countries share cultural aspects, language, Portuguese, and main religion, Roman Catholic Christianity. However, the Angolan culture is mostly native Bantu, which was mixed with Portuguese culture. The diverse ethnic communities with their own cultural traits, traditions, and native languages or dialects include the Ovimbundu, Ambundu, Bakongo, Chokwe, Avambo, and other peoples. Now, this does intertwine with what Christopher Salas says, as he is Christian, as he talks about Spain and Portugal a lot, as that intertwines with his culture as being Angolan and, in a way, Congolese. But, you know, we see it's Angola. And he did say his dad was part of the Bakongo tribe. So, you know, it's very cool. And this stuff highlights exactly what was going on and what we were learning. So I liked that a lot. I like when stuff intertwines with what I'm saying. So then we have Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo relations. Refers to the current relationships between Angola and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Historically, Angola has been closely involved in Congolese politics, taking part in the 1997 war to oust Mobutu Sese Seko from power. It then intervened during the Second Congo War in 1998 on the side of the new administration under Laurent Desire Kabila. I can't say that correctly, but I'm trying. So since the end of the conflict, the Angolan government remained an ally of President Joseph Kabila and supported him militarily. However, Angola's main interest is stability in the DRC, and Kabila's attempts to remain in power and postponement of elections since the end of his term in December 2016, leading to mass protests, have caused a cooling in relations between the two countries. So I just thought this was really cool, and a lot of information shed on this, which is really cool. Learning about it, you know, really learning about it. I like that. When I go here, not here, but here, when we talk about the Ovimbundu, Ambundu, Bakongo, Chokwe, and Avambo, and others, down here, there's a lot of information on each. So, you know, the Ovimbundu, the Mbundu, Bakongo, Lunda Chokwe, and Angola, you know, they're all, you know, so much information on all of them, and there's even more here with the others. But I will go into that in a later, in another video, because that's a lot, and I'm running out of time on this video. So I really hope that this was an enjoyable video for you guys, where you guys could kind of get to know a little more about the Angolan and Congolese people. I really enjoyed it, and actually I wanted to show you guys that picture, which was of let me look. So if you click on this and you go down, you will find Kimpavita. This is Kimpavita, and she was a young Congolese woman who in 1704 claimed to be possessed by Saint Anthony, argued that Jesus was a Congolese, and criticized the Italian Capuchin. Let me see. She criticized the Italian Capuchin missionaries for not supporting black saints and attempted to stop the devastating cycle of civil wars between contenders for the Congolese throne. She was burned at the stake in 1706. And that was her. Like this is her. And this is 1706, you guys. So how could they have a picture of her? Hold on one sec. Like how could they have a picture of her like this in 1700, before, you know, she was burned at the stake for pretty much questioning the Italian missionaries about Jesus being a Congolese? That's just really cool. But not that she was burned, but how they have a picture of her in this time, but yet cameras were made in 1816. I highly doubt that. They should change that, because this is a real picture. It's not a painting. It's not that. It's really her. So I just think that's cool. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.